Today I want to talk about pension policy, and I know it's kind of one of those obscure elements of politics, but it really does make a difference. And where it makes a difference most is in the next generation. Where you're seeing our pension policy right now is at the state level, we have what is called a defined benefit package. And that means that all employees that work for the state get a certain retirement benefit. It's not like a 401k, which most of the private sector has. In fact, if you look at the private sector, 93% of the private sector has no access to what was really yesterday's retirement plan, and that is a defined benefit plan. So why should we be looking at this? Well, the reason we should be looking at it is our retirement system right now is predicated on investment returns of 8%. That generally is in most areas of the financial world, those are yesterday's numbers. But if we go along with that assumption, what happens is if you just take the deficits that we're looking at with our pension policy today, we're about $6 billion in the hole. If you just change that assumption rate from 8% to 7%, you put another $6 billion hole in our pensions. And what that does eventually is that affects future generations. So instead of current services tomorrow, they're going to be having to pay for our bills that we really should have been obligated to pay today. And no less than George Washington said, we should avoid ungenerously throwing upon posterity the burdens that we ourselves ought to bear. And I think that really reflects upon today. If we're going to have a pension policy, I'm all for treating state employees great. I want really good state employees that know how to service, know how to treat the customer right. That's you, the taxpayer. But we can't have a system where we have the haves and have-nots and state employees have access to benefits, employee benefits out there that the private sector simply doesn't have access to. As we go forward looking at remaking our tax policy, it's hard to have those conversations when people can always point back to employee benefits and say, why do I really want to change my tax structure, or why do I really want to put additional money in, for example, for schools or our universities, why don't we change these elements like employee benefits that are so different between the public and private sector? We need to start addressing those issues. I think it's not only fair for today, but it's especially fair for the next generation that's going to have to bear this burden.